that I could stay here for life. I wish that I could stay.
I do the H with a drum on the chop. I've been on run into a out. Running red light, smoking dope in front of the cops. The laws know better, tell me to put it out.
I've been alone, I really don't like the crowd. Yeah, shawty know I be down when I tell her I think of cloud.
I'm James Bond, Brown, Fauntleroy, James Cook. Running around with bills, a little pistol and gray hooks. Ready to the checker flag, ready through the red light. 12 can't be gun, it won't pull over till I'm dead right.
My name is Timmy Too Dope, and these are my smokers of the week. First track, Wale, James Freestyle. This track finally got its official release, so you know we gotta talk about it. Initially, it got released on the rollout to Everything Is a Lot. I think Wale just put it out there just as a reminder that his pen game is up there with the best of them, just to remind people that his pen is not to be messed with. And that's exactly what he did with this joint. He got his bars off the entire track. What I really want to highlight was the James name flips. He says, I'm James Bond, Brown, Fauntleroy, James Cook, running around with bills. So that's James Cook, I believe, running around with bills, a little piston. I think that might be James Brown, and great hooks. That's James Fauntleroy, the singer, great hook maker. But also a little piston, little pistol, that can mean James Bond as well. And then a little later in the track, he says, feel like I'm James Dean, Gandolfini, James Harden. I got bitches, that could be probably James Dean. Some issues, that's Gandolfini. And every day I ball, that's James Harden. Just the wordplay, the name flips, just proving why Wale has been and still is one of the best. Next up, we got Maxo Kreme, Denzel Curry, JPEGMAFIA, fake Jeezys. First things first, Peggy absolutely snapped on this beat. I know sometimes his beats can be a little bit overwhelming, can be a little bit over the top, but this one was perfect for the type of energy that Maxo and Zell always bring to the track, and it was the perfect marriage for a stank face inducing track the whole way through. Maxo, in my opinion, is pretty underrated, especially on tracks like this. And anytime that him and Zell have linked up in the past, like on Trigger Man or Set It Off, they always deliver. Next, we got Umair, Calm and Loose Threads featuring Smino. The track is called Stadium Coupe. Anytime I see that Smino dropped a new verse or a new track, it's usually one of the first things that I gotta check out. And in this case, it wasn't necessarily the verse that was the highlight of this track, but the earworm of a hook that Smino put down. Smino just has such an incredible ear for finding melodies in pockets that most people wouldn't even dream of. And this is another example right here. As far as the primary artist, Umair, he's a Pakistani producer who has linked up with Smino in the past on the track No Syringe last year with Kenny Mason. Pakistani rapper Calm holds down the second verse, and while there is a language barrier there, I can definitely tell his flow and delivery were on point on this almost UK drill-like beat. Next track, Stay Here for Life by A$AP Rocky and Brent Faiyaz. Now, I told myself I would only talk about one track from Don't Be Dumb. And it's really hard because I really enjoyed this album a lot more than I expected to. I could have talked about No Trespassing. We could have talked about Stop Snitching. We could have talked about Playa. We could have talked about the Stole Your Flow, the Drake diss. We could have talked about Robbery with Doechii. We could have talked about a few other tracks on this album, but this track here, Stay Here for Life with Brent Faiyaz, is the one. And honestly, it might be my favorite A$AP Rocky track ever. And of course, a lot of the credit does have to go to Brent Faiyaz for an unforgettable hook that really sets the tone over this amazing Hit Boy beat. Speaking of Hit Boy, he's been on a crazy run lately with production, but rapping as well. We're gonna have to talk about Hit Boy one of these days. As far as the song goes, this one is an all-timer for me. As I said, maybe my favorite A$AP Rocky track of all time. It was honestly hard to get past this track. I think it's like the third or fourth track on the album. It was hard for me to get past this track for a minute. That's how good it is. And the last track I got for y'all today, Let 'Em Know by T.I. Yes, sir, King is back. T.I. cut the locks, he put the hat back on crooked, hopped on a Pharrell beat, and gave us a smoker. Let 'Em Know really sounds like some T.I. versus T.I.P. Big shit poppin', what you know about that era T.I. I couldn't be more excited for this one. Growing up, T.I. was one of my favorite rappers. Just his energy, his attitude, his flow, his lyrics, just everything about T.I. growing up. He was one of them ones. So to see him make this comeback, I couldn't be more excited. My boy Deontay Kyle shared a couple videos of him up in the studio with T.I. And he's linking up with Pharrell for, I believe, the very first time in his career. I can't really remember any tracks that they've linked up, you know, on together, Pharrell and T.I. I think this is the first. I could be wrong, but I couldn't be more excited about this. Apparently, according to Rap Genius, he is dropping an album in 2026 called Kill the King. No release date yet, but definitely gonna be on the lookout for that one, man. King back. Looking forward to next week, or today at the time this is going out. IDK is dropping a mixtape called Even the Devil Smiles. I talked about him and the Life for Life track last week featuring Pusha T. That track got me really hyped for this mixtape. I might cover a couple tracks from the mixtape with some reactions or something like that, but definitely plan on doing an entire review for this IDK project. Ari Lennox is also dropping on the R&B side. Those singles are sounding great. Vacancy, Howl at the Moon, Twin Flame. I think she dropped another one, but all of those are sounding enjoyable. The skits she's been dropping, she's flexing her funny muscle, you know what I mean? She's flexing her comedic chops. She's great in that lane, you know what I mean? If she decides to go away from the music, but the music is sounding great. She's linking up with Jermaine Dupri for the production, most of the production anyway. Elite, formerly of Dreamville, I believe, is executive producing the album, but Brian Michael Cox is also helping with the writing of the project as well. And Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox are responsible for Usher's Confessions and Mariah Carey's Emancipation of Mimi. So Usher and Mariah Carey's best projects arguably have been helped out in large part due to Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox. So the fact that those two are linking up with Ari Lennox for this album has me really excited, and I think Ari's going to give us an Album of the Year contender. As far as the singles go, we got Denzel Curry, BK Thruella, and Laser Dim. The track's called Lit Effect. I'll be honest, I have already heard that track. I was going to put it on the smokers, but I was trying to only limit it to 5. The track is amazing. Denzel has a project coming out called Strictly for the Scythe. The Scythe is a new group that he just developed. It's him, Laser Dim, this BK the Ruler, and Tia Corinne, I believe, as well. So I'm really excited to see what that group does. And, you know, if this track and the fake Jeezy track are anything to go off of, this new super group is about to be crazy. As I mentioned before, Hit Boy is on a crazy run, producing as well as rapping. He's got a single out called Percentages. And A$AP Rocky looks like he's dropping a second disc for the deluxe of Don't Be Dumb. He already dropped 2 new singles. One of them is called Flaquito Joydier. I think I heard a little bit of it. It's almost on like an Afrobeats type vibe. So, you know, we were told that Don't Be Dumb was going to expand multiple genres. So, you know, just a little more expansion of the multiple genres. It sounded like from this extra track that's getting added to Don't Be Dumb. Very busy week for new music. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and pull up next week for my Smokers of the Week. And as always, if it's not too dope, then it's probably mids.